Hi there. Okay, so we're back, and I hope that I'm starting where I needed to. I actually taped almost an entire another segment, and unfortunately there was somebody working outside of my parents' house, and it got very noisy, so I'm retaping. So I think we left off here with this notion of bonding. Remember, there are 4 drives, and I would want you to remember all these that we have as individuals. So the drive to bond, drive to understand the world around us and to learn, and the drive to defend. That is to be treated in a just and fair fashion in life. So the key that your manager can ask herself is, in what ways can I ensure that you are meeting these drives? So the article suggests that culture is the main way that you can help meet somebody's drive to bond. So she can help foster reliance and friendship with you among your coworkers. So it's akin to, for example, like moving your office space so that you can meet your other coworkers. She can ensure that the culture values collaboration. So, maybe the culture right now is so independent because it's a private equity firm, which sometimes emphasizes independent work, so in the pursuit of quite a bit of money. So maybe she can find ways to further nurture this notion of a collaborative culture and encourage sharing of best practices or information. Again, maybe the culture is that everybody's so invested in their own efforts that they are not sharing information broadly with other people. So the key here is, let's say for the sake of it, again, you feel really isolated, and she needs to make sure that you're able to bond with other people. Comprehension is really, again, understanding the world around us, and the primary mechanism for that is job design. Now, again, I told you earlier that job design is a very robust idea, that the way that jobs are designed have a very large impression on us in terms of our level of motivation. And in particular, for you, one key implication of this is the best thing you can do for yourself is find a job, whatever field, that you like very much, because you'll be much more motivated. But the idea for your manager is to think, how can she make sure that she is just creating a job for you that is distinct, important, and has meaning and can contribute to the organization? So maybe, for example, when you started, she told you that she was going to allow you to put together some key presentations, so PowerPoint presentations embedded with financial research, and you have been unable to do that thus far. She hasn't allowed you to actually do those presentations. So you feel disconnected from the meaningfulness in the organization because you think to yourself, I'm just answering phones and setting up her schedule. So that would be one way to help foster something meaningful for you. And then lastly is this notion of defending. We feel the drive to defend ourselves against unjust and unfair actions. So the primary mechanism through which that your drive can be met is through the performance management and resource allocation processes. Performance management is essentially the system through which people are evaluated every year. So when you go up for your yearly annual review, that's when your performance is being measured, and in particular, and resource allocation processes. So how are resources allocated, and are they allocated fairly? So she can think about, is she making sure that processes are transparent, that she's allocating resources to you and to other people in a fair manner? And, can she make sure that she's granting rewards, assignments, and other forms of recognition in a just and transparent manner? And if she's not, she needs to reconsider that. So, for the sake of it, let's just say that she's been giving assignments to other people, and she had promised the same assignments to you, and as a consequence, you don't feel like you're being fairly treated in the organization. That would be a way for her to rethink it. Okay, so expectancy theory, what does it suggest in practice? Expectancy theory is largely, at least in the way it's designed, an individual level theory on what makes us as individuals motivated, but it still has implications for what somebody could do to ensure that we are motivated. So to be sure, the essence of this theory is that motivation is a product of 3 things. Expectancy, which is essentially the degree to which we believe that our effort will translate into performance. And then instrumentality. the belief that if we perform in a particular way, that we will get particular outcomes. And lastly, valence. That is what we're going to get as an outcome meaningful or satisfactory to us? Because, for example, you may decide that you could get a particular outcome, but it doesn't really mean very much to you in practice. Say you're not somebody who's driven by money, and you think, well, if I'm working in this company and I'm making a lot of money, I don't really care. But, so that's the valence of that outcome is not very satisfactory for you. But maybe the job challenge is incredibly important to you. So you would rate that very high in terms of valence. So the key is you put all those things together and they represent your motivation. If you believe your hard work will pay off into performance, and if you believe that the performance will lead to valued outcomes, you are going to be motivated. But it's almost like in a class. If you believe that you could work very hard in a class, but you still can't learn the material because it's not part of your genetic makeup to learn that kind of material, you don't know how, you're probably not going to try very hard. So these are very practical, even though these look very scientific-y. Okay, so your manager needs to think, can I increase it's called effort to performance expectancy on your part? Can she increase the expectancy? Maybe part of your problem is you haven't been trained very well in this particular role, so you don't know how to handle the scheduling very well. Say she has admonished you several times about creating her schedule in a way that she wants it created, but she's never trained you in it. So every day you come to work and as an intern and you think, boy, I'd like to be able to do my job, but I don't really know how to do it because I haven't been trained. So she could sit down and train you. Giving you the appropriate resources. Maybe your phone is incredibly outdated and it's not easy to work. And when you're asked to transfer people to her, it transfers them inadequately. So she needs to consider buying you a new phone because it's been frustrating for you because you don't have the right resources to do your job. Clarifying roles. Maybe, again, the problem is you came into this organization thinking you were going to be doing one thing and you're actually not. And so she needs to sit down with you and clarify your role to help you understand what does my role entail so I know how to do it and my effort can then help me perform well. And providing coaching and feedback. Because again, the essence here is, can you help people to believe that if they try hard, they'll do well? Okay, increasing the P to O expectancy. It's called instrumentality. So the key here is if you believe you're going to perform at a certain level, will you get particular outcomes? So let's say for the sake of it, you have been performing really well, but you're not getting the outcomes that you want, which is a full-time job. But so she needs to make it clear, if you perform well, this is actually what you're going to get. So measuring performance accurately, maybe that's another part of this problem, is that it's not clear how to measure your performance. So maybe she would say, okay, well, let's talk to some of our main clients and how you treat them in their interactions with you as a liaison to your boss. Or linking pay to performance. That should be an R in there. Sorry to do that. Can she better link pay to your performance in this case? It probably is very difficult in your particular job, but she could try and come up with some criteria to measure your performance more effectively. And so, for example, maybe she's never even given you a job description or a list of things that she considers to be outstanding performance. So that's part of the problem, and it's part of the problem as to what you should expect if you work really hard. So measuring performance accurately, communicating the outcomes that you will get if you work hard, and linking pay to performance are all ways that she can actually help you. So maybe she can say specifically, if you do better, or if you do well in this job, and these are the particular things that I want you to do, I will give you a 20% raise at this point in time. So that could be one way to help you. And lastly, increase valence, the outcome valences. This one I think is rather intuitive and kind of an easy win for most people, in that we know that people are value different rewards. So some people want challenge in a job, some people want security, some people want money, some people want friendship. And the best thing that your manager can do is get to know you as a person and figure out what you want. So as our earlier discussion suggests, maybe what you want are health benefits, a full-time job after you finish your education at Queens, and you want a, quote, sexier job. You want more in your job that is commensurate with somebody with your level of skills. I'm going to pause this and go to the next set of, or next video.